Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you have had a restful weekend. I thought of doing this video for you so that you listen to it before you come to class. So I will talk about the theory in this video, so what you need to know, and then most of the time in the class I will be focusing on the practical part of it, how to do the analysis. So I will give you here the type or discuss with you the types of data analysis, and in class I will show you how we can do it using the Excel program, which is available to us. There are many different programs, but Excel is available and we can use it. So we will be working on that inshallah next class. This is a new technique strategy. You may use it in your future classrooms. It is called flipped classroom, in which you prepare something for the students to watch or prepare. You assign some assignments for them, and then when it comes to the class, you work on the practical or on discussion, or so you save more time. So I hope I will be clear with you, and if things are not clear or there are some issues or some points which are not clear, I can repeat them in class and explain it even more. So data analysis is one of the issues that face many researchers. And many researchers or many educators really struggle when it comes to data analysis. It is easier for them to do the literature review, write the introduction, collect the data, and then when they collect this massive information or data, the question is, or they ask themselves, what can I do with this data? What should I do with it? So we get a lot of information. How can I summarize it? How can I look at it? So they sometimes go and find people where they pay them some money or a lot of money to do the analysis for them. And sometimes it is good and sometimes it is not, because whoever is doing the analysis should know what is the background of the research. So if you know how to do it, it would be better for you to understand what you did. And for doing the analysis, it depends on what you are focusing on in your research study. If you are doing qualitative data, you will analyze it in certain techniques. If you are doing quantitative data, you will be using different techniques. So if you have qualitative data, as you all know that we can do inductive reasoning analysis, looking at the patterns, themes, looking at categories. So we try to categorize the information to small, meaningful conclusions. So in this qualitative data, we are going from specific to general. We try to understand what is written so that we make our conclusion. Many people think it is overwhelming. It is overwhelming because you have to read or do a lot of reading, with the idea of trying to reduce, minimize those information into very, very, very small information. But you have to be careful about the risk of summarizing, minimizing, because if you are not careful, you will be losing a lot of information, because you will be focused on some information and leaving some other information which sometimes be very important. So you have to be careful in this, not losing a lot of information. So it is the analysis here with qualitative research or techniques subjective. It depends on your own understanding of the responses, whether it is written text or interviews you are listening to records. And it is a lot of reading, a lot of analyzing when it comes to qualitative data, and sometimes it is good you read your information or you read the information you got, leave it for 1 or 2 days, a week, and then go back to the data and read it again, so you will come up with different information or different interpretation. This is called introspection technique, where you read and leave the work for some days and then you come back so that you will come up for different ideas. There are some programs which help in categorizing, not helping in the analysis, but helping in categorizing the information into some patterns. But we do not use it a lot, but it is available if you want to use. There is one program is called In Vivo. but I don't think you need it. For quantitative data, where you analyze the data deductively, so you are looking from the general into the specific, you try to, again, summarize, categorize, tabularize, minimize all the numbers into small, meaningful numbers. And there are two different ways of doing it. Either we use descriptive statistics or inference statistics. And look at the word statistics. So it is statistically analyzing the data. If you are using descriptive statistics, you are not doing more than describing the data, summarizing the data into tables, numbers, and trying to understand or come up with a conclusion with those numbers. And there are different techniques, we'll discuss them. But if you are talking about inferential statistics, you use it when you want to compare between groups. You are looking for significance of the significance of the results, whether the results are significant or not significant, whether you can generalize or not generalize, whether you can make inference to the population or not. So we use this inferential statistics. For descriptive statistics, there are three different types or kinds we can use. We can use measures of central tendency, or مقاييس النزعة المركزية, or measures of dispersion, which is مقاييس التشتت. And the third type is measures of relationship, اللي هو مقاييس العلاقات. If we are using the measures of central tendency, so we are looking at the number in the center. We want a number in the center that summarizes the responses. What do the responses or the responders agree on or disagree on as one number in the middle of the data? We can use the mean, which is the arithmetic average, المتوسط الحسابي. Adding all the numbers, dividing by the number of participants, you get the mean. Or the median, which is الوسيط. What is the middle number? So you have to arrange or order the data from high to low or from low to high, ascending or descending, and then you just take the number in the middle. The mode is the most frequent occurring number in the data. What is the number that is repeated more than the others? So that is the mode. So these measures gives me the central point of the data. But it is not enough. Sometimes we need measures of dispersion to tell us how the data differ from each other. How much is the variance between the responses? Do they all agree, or is there a lot of disagreement between them? How much is this variance? So we can use the range, whereas it is the difference between the highest score and the lowest score. So it tells me how far the highest from the lowest. Or we can use the standard deviation, which is الانحراف المعياري, the average distance of the scores from the mean. The average distance of the scores from the mean. How far the scores differ from the mean, or around the mean. This will give us an idea. The third one, which is the correlation, which gives us two things, the strength and the direction. Direction, either positive or negative, طردي or عكسي. If it is positive, that means if one variable increases, the other increases. If decreases, the other decreases. The negative correlation, if one variable increases, the other decreases. The strength, as the graph show you or the chart show you, from 0 to 30, that's low correlation. 30 to 70, that's middle or medium correlation. More than 70, so the correlation is high. So that's about descriptive statistics. And we can use graphs to represent all this data nicely. We can use the histogram, bar chart, and pie chart. We use histogram if we have continuous data. But if we have categorical or nominal data, we can use the bar or pie charts. And we can use frequency distribution tables. And the frequency distribution tables is not considered descriptive statistics, it is descriptive, but it is not statistics because we are not doing any statistical analysis. All we are doing is just making a table of the responses. So we are looking at the frequencies or the percentage of the occurrence of discourse. Now we are talking about the inferential statistics, where we make inference to the whole population from the sample. And I discussed in the class the 0.05, the probability of making the results or the conclusion or finding the results by chance. If it is more than 0.05, then we fail to reject the null hypothesis and we conclude that there is no significant difference. If it is less than 0.05, we say there is a significant difference and we reject the null hypothesis. And to do that, there are different or a lot of statistical tests, but I will give you some here. For example, if I want to examine the difference between two different groups, for example, the performance of males and females, I will use independent sample t-test or independent measure t-test. If I want to measure the difference between the performance of section 4 and section 5, I will use independent sample t-test. But if I have one group, just one group, section 5, your section, and I give you a pre-test, and after some time I give you a post-test, and then I see if there is a significant difference the pre and the post performance, I will use the repeated measure t-test, or we call it paired sample t-test, because we are examining one group, pre and post. Sometimes we want to examine the difference between more than two groups. For example, if I want to see if there is significant difference between section 1 and section 2 and section 3 and section 4, 4 sections, I will use ANOVA, analysis of variance. So it tells me exactly if there is a significant difference between those sections or not. And if there is significant difference, where is the difference? Which group differ from each other and which group do not? So we use these three tests if we have continuous variables or continuous data. If we have categorical data or nominal data, we use chi-square test. It is called chi-square test. So it tells me if there is a significant difference between two groups. For example, I want to see if there is a relationship or if there is a significant difference between being male or female and your major. Is there a significant difference for being male and choosing math or English or Islamic and Arabic or cycle 1? Or there is a significant difference between being male or female and those sections? So I can use chi-square test. The last point I want to discuss here, which is the statistical significance and practical significance. Sometimes, especially when we have a large sample of size, it is the probability of getting a significant result is high. So, for example, if I want to measure the correlation between two variables and I find that the correlation is 25, and statistically I find it significant. So it is statistically significant, but the correlation is 25. So statistically it is significant, but practically it is not, because the correlation is low. It is not strong. There is a correlation, but this correlation is low. So it is not practically good result. I think this is all for now, and I apologize if my voice is not clear or I am not well prepared for this video. I just thought about it and I jumped off doing it. I hope it is helpful. I hope we can save some time for doing it practically in the class, and I can repeat some points if it is not clear to you. So I hope it is useful, and please listen to it and come prepare for the class, and I hope to see you on Monday, inshallah. So all the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.